Well, we're back again with another movie. This one, something very special to me and Alex here.
Absolutely.
As you can see by my background, we chose Predator this week. So, Alex, once again, you're my guest. So go ahead and quick introduction and introduction to how Predator came into your life.
Wow. All right. Well, first and foremost, Steve and I have worked together in law enforcement, and we have been friends for a long time. And actually, it's funny that this is the film that we kind of first was like the first conversation that we had about, about movies and our love and passion for them. So this is kind of like special film for he and I both. For me, Predator came out in was it 1987.
Yeah.
And again, during that time period, I really didn't have any idea that that I was going to go into the military. But I was a huge GI Joe fan. So any type of movie that had like military characters in it, that had like like special dossiers or special MOSs and stuff, I was always like heavy into it. And this movie right here, just top notch, feel that 100%.
Yeah. Man, look, similar backgrounds. Alex he got a few years on me, not too many though. Predator came out in '87. I was 9. Yeah, like 9 years old. So same kind of background. Like my dad was in the military. He was airborne infantry and all that. And at the time when Predator came out, we happened to be living in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska. And, 80s, typical 80s, you love military movies, the war movies, the one-man army movies and this and that, they were all over the place and loved them. Commando
Absolutely.
was a movie I loved, and I remember not being able to go see Predator in the theater because we did go see a lot of movies. But it was an R-rated movie, and crazy thing is, my parents let me watch all kind of R-rated movies, but for whatever reason, we didn't go see Predator.
Right.
And I remember, man, vividly, and I don't remember like which month it was or whatever when Predator finally came out on pay-per-view. And this was when pay-per-view started blowing up in the 80s. It came out on pay-per-view. My dad rented it, and back in the day, you get something on pay-per-view on one TV that has a cable box. It was show on all the TVs if you had the cable running all the TVs. So I remember my parents downstairs watching Predator. I was upstairs watching Predator. They didn't even know I was watching it. and man, I remember I loved it, man, from the first time I saw that movie. And just ever since then, man, it's just been like one of those movies where I feel like it almost like turns you into a man as a boy. It's one of those movies, man. It's just it's lightning in a bottle, man. You'll never get another movie exactly like this. And
Absolutely.
and to me, it just hit. It's one of those movies that hit at the right time, and I was the right age and the right decade to see this movie.
Right.
I wasn't too young, I wasn't too old to not care or whatever. Let's say it's not realistic or whatever. This. If you don't enjoy this movie, there's something wrong with you.
Absolutely.
You either squeamish or there's something up with you if you don't like this movie. It's just well made. They don't make them like this anymore.
Yes, it's pretty much the perfect storm.
Yeah.
You got the right amount of character development, and like you get attached to the characters, and even the film itself. I remember like you were saying, you saw it on pay-per-view. Me and my mom actually went to see it in the theaters, and I was telling you this last night, that going into the theaters and seeing like the people that already seen it coming out, and their faces, it just had like this energy to it, man. And when I sat down, and from like the beginning, like you saw the ship and the little pod peel off and stuff, it was all business after that. And everybody in the theater was just like, you could hear a pin drop. And then from then on, man, everybody just got sucked down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful, man. It was wonderful.
Seeing Carl Weathers in this movie, man, I was just like, oh yeah, I love this movie already, because he was one of my favorites at the time.
Yeah, absolutely, same.
Yeah. So speaking of, I'm glad you had brought up the the ship coming in to Earth and the pod at the very
Right.
beginning of the movie. That was actually a scene that I think we'll say it was a production company or Warner Brothers or whatever, not Warner Brothers, Fox, kind of asked for it to be put in after the fact. It was like looking into the back. Hey y'all, just going to tell you now, this movie has an incredible background. It does. The making of this movie is interesting as the movie itself.
Right.
But yeah, that scene, the director John McTiernan, he didn't intend for that scene to be where it was in the movie, or actually be in the movie at all. That was something that was added in post production because the studio felt like they wanted the audience to know that there was an alien, and John McTiernan's idea was, I don't want them. I want them to be, surprised at what's coming. So that's why that one scene, even though looking back on it, I don't care. But when you really think about the movie and how it's paced out, it almost would be better if you didn't know the first time watching it, if you didn't know that there was an alien involved in the movie. Because from the very beginning that there's an alien in this movie.
Right. Yeah. They introduce it right then and there.
You just don't know what it looks like, which is the other mystery.
From that point there, we get the scene where we have our introduction to our characters, and it seems like they're arriving at this base camp somewhere. I guess it's in Mexico.
Yeah, well, they filmed it. They filmed it in Mexico. I think it was supposed to take place in like Colombia or somewhere in Central America or South America, something like that. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, the choppers come in, and when they land and stuff like that, you can kind of get a glimpse of, like, your base characters. So you've got, of course, Arnold's there, but it's cool that you didn't get a glimpse of him till last after everybody got off the chopper. But you've got Mac, you got Poncho, you got Blaine, you got Billy, and again, 6 characters. Of course, Arnold's character's name was Dutch, but you had a really great bunch of characters there.
Yeah.
And even the introductions, you saw like the attire that they had when they got off the chopper, that everybody kind of had their own personality. Even when Mac got off I like when Mac got off the chopper, he had a full suit on.
Yeah, he had a full suit on.
Suit tie. And then his buddy Blaine had an MTV T-shirt on. Yeah. Everybody kind of had their own characters, but when the mission started, it was all business, and I liked the fact that you felt that they had a cohesiveness from jump.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then that introduction is just one of those classic movie introductions that it's so perfect that you don't know who these guys are. You don't know their names.
Right.
You don't know what they actually do for a living, but they all have separate personalities. And that they're probably scary dudes. Yeah. Like you said, our boy Bill Duke gets out of the helicopter with a full suit on in a jungle.
Got a suit on.
Schwarzenegger, he's the last one. He's smoking a cigar with a polo shirt on.
Yeah.
Like these guys just they picked him up. They picked him up off the street and brought him to the jungle. And you already get this sense that, man, these guys have personalities, and that's world building a movie structure that you don't get a lot anymore. They try to like spoon feed you, like, this person does this person is this person is this. This movie didn't do that. You see from the very beginning these guys have separate personalities, and they're not all just carbon copies of each other. And
absolutely.
And the first thing that happens in this movie is Schwarzenegger, walks into the tent and does the manliest, sweatiest, greasiest handshake ever.
Pencils?
Ever seen on film or in person.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic moment.
It's amazing, man. It's one of those scenes that, like, if I'm watching the movie, like, I might run it back a couple times just because I just love that scene. It's one of those things that, as growing up back then and all our heroes in the 80s and, especially early 90s and 80s, a lot of them had muscles and everything. You kind of wanted to be like that. Growing up, G.I. Joe figures had muscles on them. He-Man figures had muscles on them. And
exactly.
You wanted to be that, man. You see Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger do this
This arm lock, like
it's completely unrealistic air arm wrestling. It doesn't matter. It's just cool. It's just a cool thing to see, you know.
It was a great moment.
Yeah.
And like, you know, when Arnold walked into the I guess that was the operation center and started talking to the general. I didn't notice it in the beginning because, you know, when you first watched the film, you know, once or twice, you didn't really get like the sense of anything. But going back now and watching it, so we did this review, you kind of see that there was an air of uneasiness there. You know what I mean? You saw like in the beginning when the general was pacing back and forth, you can see that he was uncomfortable.
But he knew what was going on.
For me, exactly. For me, it was one of those things where he was involved and he knew his hands were dirty and what they were about to do was grimy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dylan, I think, was kind of like, I think that him and Dutch hadn't seen each other in a while. Not to get off the beaten path, but I think him and Dutch hadn't really seen each other, you know, in a while after like doing different mission stuff after Vietnam and whatnot. So I think Dylan fell into his own person. You know, he kind of became something else different than what he was when Dutch met him. And that really showed up. But it was cool. Like I said, you know, he was sitting in the back and his voice chimes in. Well, somebody made the assumption that you were the best. You know? And then there he is, which I thought was a fantastic introduction.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things that it's one of those things, those intangibles that you get in movies, in good movies.
Yeah.
When someone says, hey, man, why is this movie good to you? It's hard to explain it. It's hard to explain it, but it's stuff like that. It's just cool to look at, you know. Dylan sitting there, he's got a button-up shirt on, sleeves rolled up, you know. Like there's no reason. Like I said, there's no reason for that handshake, but it was cool, and I'm glad it's in the movie. You know, like a lot of things in this movie, man. And Dylan breaks down the mission, and like you said, man, the general knows there's something fishy about it. Actually, the general probably knows exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And he knows that this is a setup and Dutch is being set up. And Dutch, you know, knows his general as essentially a friend.
Yeah.
And the general's like, you know, his hands are tied. It is, you know, this is the mission. You know, it came from higher than him. And they got there's some hostages they need to go track down. And Dylan says, Dylan's talking to Dutch and talking about, hey, why didn't you guys take that mission, this previous mission? He said, you know, we aren't.
I think it was Libya.
Yeah, he said we aren't assassins. You know, that's not our style. You know, we're a hostage rescue, not assassins. And that shows you from the beginning of the movie, hey, Dutch is a badass, but he has morals.
Yes.
And it's a clear sign that Dylan has fewer morals than Dutch.
Absolutely.
Right. And
I believe that 100%.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, that's what makes Dylan's character arc more important in this movie.
Yeah.
Because if he was just a straight up mustache twirling bad guy, you know, we wouldn't care. You wouldn't care as much. You're like, okay, good action, but you know, I don't really care. You don't really remember. You wouldn't remember Dylan like that. But he has an actual arc in this movie, which makes him more memorable. Right.
Because he actually does go through a change.
Yeah.
You know, throughout the film. And we'll get into that later on. But yeah, the shiftiness where Dylan, after Libya was mentioned, Dylan kind of met odds with the general, you know, and right then and there was like, it's almost like, to me, when he said that, it was almost like he checked Dutch.
Right.
Like subtly, you know, and I didn't dig that. But again, you don't get that until you go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
You know, the griminess, the level of griminess that's going on.
Yeah, it's subtle. It's subtle, but you know, it's there. It's there, and subconsciously, your brain's soaking this stuff in. It just makes it makes the movie more interesting, you know, as a whole.
Absolutely.
So you know, we skip forward a little bit, and we're on the chopper. The guy's on the chopper, and classic personality intros to the characters. You know.
Yeah.
We haven't.
Yeah.
Only people we talked to is Dutch and Dylan, really. Up until this point.
Right.
Now you get the rest of the guys where Schwarzenegger pretty much says almost nothing on the helicopter.
Yeah.
But it's the rest of the guys having conversations.
Right. Amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had Poncho, you know, was you know, doing a little bit of maintenance on his grenade launcher. Mm-hmm. Then you had Hawkins, who of course from what I gathered, he was kind of like a comic reader. You his brand of comic was, I think it was Sergeant Rock.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
I think Sergeant Rock. So he was doing his thing. Billy was putting his war paint on. Mac was in the back. You notice you've seen him shaving throughout the movie with these disposable big razors. But I thought, again, just a little touch of character there.
Yeah.
Man. Just those small things, man.
Yeah, because those single blade big razors dry, man. You gotta have some hard skin for those, man.
Exactly.
Like leather.
And then you had, of course, Blaine and Jesse Ventura and all his fullness there, manliness, offering everybody the tobacco.
To make you a sexual tyrannosaurus.
Guys is turning it down, make that shit out of my face, and this, that. And the whole time this was going on, you had classic Little Richard song, Long Toss Sally, which I thought, man, I don't think that for me, there hasn't been a moment like that where you got a song going and like the intro to these characters and getting the gist of who you're about to take a ride with. Perfect, man. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Absolutely wonderful.
And it's just a wonderful scene. It's a wonderful scene. And you get a little bit of background of Dylan and Dutch's character that, they definitely served together. They were friends. Yeah. You get the little interaction between Dylan and Blaine, spitting the tobacco on his boot and everything. So,
and to me, that was classic there to me, because again, you got a cohesive unit of guys. He's the odd man out.
Yeah.
So Blaine was letting him know, man, I don't like this, and I don't like you. Yeah,
you're not welcome here.
You're not one of us, exactly.
Yep. And then when the buzzer goes off on the helicopter, Dutch says, "Hey, wrap it up. Everything is business from there on. No more joking. Right. What's the name? Not telling jokes anymore.
Nope.
Yeah, straight business." So Blaine turns off the Little Richard. Straight business.
Right.
And then we're dropped into the jungle, and from that point on, there's no other setting in the movie.
Besides jungle.
Besides the jungle. And that's great movie making. Once again, that's the director putting us into the jungle with the actors, with the characters, and immersing us into this jungle that they can't get out of, and we can't either, because there's no other scenery in this movie.
No,
you're stuck there.
You're stuck on a ride.
Yep.
From that point, I think the communications people were letting them know that after they crossed the border into the enemy territory, that was it. They was on their own, and then I think Dutch was informed by Dylan before they dropped down that there's no backup. It's just us, and this is it. You gotta make it work.
He said, "Great."
Deal's getting better by the moment.
Right.
Just, again, that level of griminess, man.
Yep.
But when boots touched ground, man, everybody was all business. Everybody had their formation set up, and those guys were moving. And I thought it was decent, because again, you really saw like they were top tier as far as what they were supposed to do. Yeah. And you saw that Dylan was kind of the slacker in the bunch, man. And
right.
Like really, early on, you saw that he was lacking compared to them. And
he was a little rusty.
That compared,
rusty. Yeah. He had been behind the desk a little bit.
Yep. Trying to come off like he hardcore, and he been doing it, but nah. There's a difference. They've been doing it. You haven't, and it really shows. And again, that right there, that little piece, beautiful, man, beautiful. The comparison that you can make between the two.
So now we're in the jungle, and our guys are looking for these cabinet ministers that went off radar, exploring through the jungle, and they come across a downed helicopter. And
so you
who was it that Dutch sent up in the helicopter? Was it Hawkins or Poncho?
No, Hawkins was the radio guy. It was actually it was Poncho.
Yeah.
So Poncho went up and took a grappling hook and climbed up here and took a look at the damage and what was going on. They found a dead pilot up there.
Yeah.
And he said that when he came back and told Dutch the information, he said that number one, the helicopter kind of looked more like a civilian type deal. It wasn't like military. Mm-hmm. And he also said that it was stripped, like the way the damage was. The helicopter was stripped of like it's whatever the damage did, it just thrashed the helicopter, which again was a little bit more advanced. Those types of explosives or weapons that were used are more advanced than what they were expecting. So that was, a flag right there.
Yeah.
And of course,
they
Dylan
weren't-
is like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like they weren't dealing
Oh.
with like some average jungle rebels. You know what I'm saying? Like there was
Right.
some high tech stuff that brought it down.
Maybe they bought it from someone. Who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah, all right, man.
yeah. And that's we had. I want to. If I hope I'm not mixing up parts here, but Didn't Billy say there was tracks and government issue, U.S. government issue army boots?
He did. He said like near the helicopter there was that he said about there was a team of U.S. soldiers with the U.S. Army issued boots that touched down and proceeded a certain way, and then Dutch checked Dylan again like, okay, somebody else operating in this area. I don't know, man. There's operations out here all the time.
Yep.
So the lies just continue to stack.
They could have bought equipment from anywhere. Yeah.
Yep.
So this is some more of that. And John McTiernan, man, give him some credit for just putting together an awesome movie. And
absolutely
telling this story, keeping it interesting. There's really no dead parts of this movie.
No, it's not.
Like I said, we're stuck down here in the jungle with him, and it's just clue here, clue here, clue here. Something's not right. Something's not right. Something's not right. As the audience, we know there's an alien out here.
Right.
The soldiers don't know that, and the way the movie kind of tricks us is that the predator didn't bring down the helicopter.
No.
The rebels, whoever brought down the helicopter.
Right.
But what happened to the soldiers? And then that's the kind of next mystery we get into, because those soldiers weren't supposed to be there. I want to say that's when they come across. When they come across Hopper.
Yeah, actually, Billy scouts ahead.
Yep.
The tracker. Billy scouts ahead, and he comes across. I think it was either 3 or 6. No, he said it was 3 bodies that were hanging. They were actually skinned. They were skinned alive.
Yeah, the vultures were picking at him and stuff, and
Right. And then the other bodies, I guess, for Harper's team were they weren't recovered. They didn't know like where they were or anything.
Yeah.
But the fact that intro to such a grotesque and violent, aftermath of what happened to Harper's men, it just gave you it drew, like, for me when I was sitting, I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Skinning people? What are we dealing with here? It really made you like uneasy.
Yeah.
Because at this point we hadn't seen anything. We were falling into that feel of, this is just kind of like, it's gonna start off as like your standard war movie.
Mm-hmm.
But to plug that in, it lets you know that there's other elements that are afoot here, and it just really shook me to my core. Like, skinning this dude skins people,
and Schwarzenegger throws in, he has the dog tag. He says, "Yeah, this is Jim Hopper. I knew these men, the Green Berets from Bragg."
Yep, Green Berets, man.
Lets the audience know that, like, okay, these dudes weren't, they weren't slouches. They weren't chumps.
They weren't your cereal box military. No.
It ain't Captain Crunch we dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
These dudes were killed and skinned, and these guys were pros. So what does that say for us?
What the hell? Yeah.
And it also lets the audience know that, hey, okay, something else hung and skinned these dudes that was bad enough to skin these Green Berets. So now, like, it's just building that tension up. Like, damn, this Predator, man. Is it a team of Predators? You know what I'm saying? It's
that was the mystery. We
right.
didn't know.
Right. And, you got to put your mindset back in the day, like the first time you see this movie. I happen to know when I first saw it on pay-per-view, I happen to know that the Predator's a Predator. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew people that had saw the movie, they told me, like, oh, the Predator's, whatever. But you when you're into the movie, you're not thinking about what people told you. You're just thinking like,
no,
okay, man, what's going on?
You're in the moment.
Like, you're in the moment. And I can only imagine what it was like if you saw this fresh, like virgin eyes, like, man, like what is going on here? This is crazy.
So they're trying to decipher what happened to Jim Harper's men. Billy kind of checks the surrounding area around the bodies, and he tips Dutch off and says, hey, these guys were firing in all directions, man.
Yeah.
Like what were they shooting at? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's
Yeah.
just not making sense. It's not adding up. And so Dutch was like, okay, they're taking all in, and he's looking at Dylan, and Dylan's like, what the hell could have done this to a man? And it's just, again, that right there was truth coming from him. Like he had no idea, that this was going on. He didn't know either.
Yeah.
Even though I would assume he didn't think the insurgents did it, but you never know.
Yeah.
Who knows? So it got really weird. But that was their first reality check. Like there's something afoot other than what you're saying and what this mission is.
Right. And of course our heroes don't know, obviously, that the Predator's out there. They think that these rebels or whoever's out here killed these Green Berets, hung them and skinned them and gutted them,
Yeah.
And so now they're like, oh, this just got deep, and we're out to like smoke these dudes.
Right. And actually, while they were on their way, you started getting the first heat signatures, like the heat scan signature the Predator was looking at.
Yeah.
So that was again with the skin bodies, and then you're seeing this heat vision type, the thermal vision view of the Predator. You're like, wow, this is gonna be something that it actually, for me, it was like I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Yeah, and that was the first time. That was the first time, in a movie that some creature or whatever had like heat vision. Like we saw like weird vision in movies. I don't know if you remember Wolfen from back in the day.
Oh yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Like the wolves had like that weird vision. Yeah,
yes, absolutely, man.
We might have to talk about that movie one day. I love that movie, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was the first time you've seen something like that, and of course, like I know we try not to go on too many tangents with this movie. But the making of with the special effects and everything with the Predator, they couldn't do heat vision the way that you would actually see it, or the way that it would have to actually be done. So they couldn't just point a infrared camera out there in the jungle because you wouldn't see anything. The leaves were too cool, and it just didn't pick up enough heat, and so everything that you see was like different layers of different cameras that they kind of layered on, and
I think they called in a guy like that was filming it from different, doing the same footage, but was taking the layers, like you said, adding layers to it.
Right. Yeah, because so this is one of those things that growing up, we all had this vision of like what heat vision is. It doesn't it doesn't work that way. Even we know that just from the military. Heat vision is even in color. but whatever. He's an alien. He can do it.
Exactly. Yep.
Space magic. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you said, man, we see that, and it's just iconic now. That the Predator's heat vision is just like this iconic thing. When you see that style of heat vision, you just automatically think the Predator. And that's how impactful this was the first time we saw it.
Also, while they were on the way to the insurgent camp, that happened. It was a little small scene between Mac and Dylan, where Dylan had slipped.
Yeah,
he started slipping down a slope and gave up their position. And again, Mac is right there. He says, "Hey, man, look, I don't care who you are in the real world, but give up our position one more time. I'm gonna off you and leave you here."
I'm gonna bleed you.
He was like,
I'm gonna bleed you.
Who the hell you talking to, man? Right. But that check right there again, it just shows that Dylan is lacking, man. And Billy Duke, that part right there, man. Billy Duke, again, he played a really great role throughout the film. All the way up till his character wasn't there anymore. But I just felt that the little small scenes with him, especially like the real personal scenes between him and Blaine, or him and Dylan, or even him and Schwarzenegger, man, were just really, really clean, and it showed like his acting ability, his range was just awesome.
Yeah,
it was believable, man.
Yeah,
hanging on his every word.
Yeah.
All right, so as we continue, we finally get to the insurgent camp.
Yeah,
and Dutch gives the order to everybody halt, take position, and he kind of shimmies down to take a look
after he sees the hostage get shot.
Yeah, and you saw like what you were saying about Dutch and his, him having like morals. Like after the Russian popped the hostage, you saw him. He was like, nah, this got to stop now.
Yeah.
And that's when he went and called everybody down, and they had the power. Like, we got to move now.
Yep.
So.
And he had the bright idea of when they're sneaking down, he told everybody to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, one of those just great action movie scenes, man. And it's improbable when you really think about it. And maybe maybe it don't make sense, but then it kind of does. Where he sees the truck running and they're using the truck as a generator. It's got a little belt around the wheel, and there's a guy sitting there. And human nature, if something happens in front of you, you don't look behind you.
Right.
So Dutch, I guess using human nature to his advantage, walks up to the truck, puts a C4 explosive on the back of it, slices the belt with his machete, his specially made machete that the production team made that they purposely used to kill someone, so they didn't have to carry it around for the rest of the movie. We'll get there. We'll get there. They said it was too heavy. But anyway, he cuts the thing, deadlifts the truck.
Yeah.
And drops it off the log. The truck rolls forward, and of course the guys see the truck rolling towards the camp, so they all run towards the truck. Unbeknownst to them, it explodes, and the team, that's the signal, because Dutch say wait for the signal, and Dylan said, all right boys, that's it.
Yeah.
And all 80s action hell breaks loose.
Perfectly said. That's the perfect title. All 80s hell. Absolutely. And I thought that it was iconic that it happened to be right in front, in line sight of the chow hall where most of the troops were. Like, classic 80s, man.
Yeah.
Classic 80s.
Yeah. So there's a huge explosion. All hell breaks loose, man. The guys just cut loose, man, mowing down the rebels. Rebels don't stand a chance, man. Because in the 80s, if the hero is shooting from the hip, you're dead. You're dead.
Yeah.
No one was drawing down on anybody. It was just from the hip, everybody. And perfect aim from the hip. We know that's unrealistic, but back then, who cared? Well, it was just awesome to look at. And even now, I don't care.
And
it
fit perfect.
Yeah. These guys are just destroying these rebels, man. These rebels have no chance at all.
No.
It's like they got eyes in the back of their head, man, turning around, shooting dudes behind them, and just smoking everybody, man. And we get to that scene. Oh, let me back up. Our boy Blaine, Jesse Ventura.
Oh yeah.
Carrying around the most ridiculous weapon on earth. Belongs on a minigun that belongs on a helicopter.
Yeah.
On his back, that the production team had to actually they had batteries on set with cables running to his backpack to run the minigun. That they can only get like a few seconds of footage, at a time, because they ran through so many rounds.
Right.
Totally unrealistic weapon. Might be the most badass scene in a movie with a character, with one weapon. Just what's more badass than a dude walking around with a minigun and just mowing people down?
Yeah.
And then
says everything.
He says one of the most iconic lines in any action movie ever. He said, he dug in like an Alabama tick. And who's he talking? He was talking to Hawkins? He was talking to Hawkins, right?
He was talking to Blaine. Not Blaine, I'm sorry. He was talking to
Poncho.
Poncho. He was talking to Poncho because Poncho was the grenader.
Yeah.
So
Poncho shoots a grenade into the into the guy's little dugout. Well, let me back up. He said, "Hey, you're bleeding, man."
Mm-hmm.
And Blaine says the most badass thing. I ain't got time to bleed. It's stupid,
Classic
but
Jesse.
it's
Classic Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, it's just a classic badass line in a movie. No matter how dumb you might think it is, it still makes it good. Just the fact that he even said it, and it's almost like the writers and the director are self-aware of how ridiculous that is, because Poncho says, he shoots the grenade. He says, "Okay, you got time to duck, dummy." It's just perfect. It's just perfect, man. It's one of those perfect movies. Then we get to the point where Schwarzenegger, he's manhandling dudes, man, and he throws a knife at the one guy who's behind him, and it sticks into the post, and the guy's stuck there like this. He's like, "Stick around." Like, come
Stick
on,
around, exactly.
Like who says these things in the middle of a firefight? But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I wanted to ask you. He had this thing through the '80s and through his films where he had these one-liners.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like maybe that was the beginning of the one-liners because he started doing it like in all of his films. Like he'd have like one of those cheesy phrases, and you just like, wow.
Well, I think he started with I want to say the one he said that he actually started with, because he didn't have like a one-liner really in Conan or Conan the Destroyer, but we all know the Terminator. He definitely had, I'll be back, that he used a whole bunch of times, and he had a bunch of one-liners in Commando.
Yeah,
Commando was about 2 years before this. Yeah, so yeah, I think he just the witty one-liners is like it's his thing, man, and he was the best at it. His time, perfect timing and everything. It was just the best at
delivery, everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we get they run through the camp, man, and they run across the girl, and I can't remember what her name was. Let me see. Is it Anna or something like that?
Yeah, it was Anna.
Okay. They run across her and take her captive, and they're running through all the doing like after action and going through all the paperwork they found, and Dylan's like, oh man, it's jackpot. Those guys would have been across the border with this stuff and everything. Yep. By this time, Dutch has the wheels have turned, and he's figured out that Dylan set him up.
They're being used.
Yeah,
yep.
He's using them, and Dylan, he grabs him by the collar, man, throws him up against the wall, and he says, you cooked up a story and threw the 6 of us in a meat grinder. Yeah. He's like, what happened to you? And Dylan said, I grew up, or I got smart, or something like that.
I woke up.
I woke up.
Said I woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you know that there's not only, and this is what, not even halfway through the movie?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, we're like
about 20, 30 minutes,
like not
30
even,
minutes.
Not even half.
So now now the audience knows, and our heroes know that, okay, there's something else going on here, because these guys weren't the ones skinning these Green Berets, and of course the audience now knows that, okay, well, they did the mission. There's still like another hour left in this movie.
So what's going to happen now?
Right. So now they got to get back. And they got to get out and get extracted. But it was like an issue with the radio or an issue with the pickup. Like they couldn't pick them up.
It was an issue with the pickup. I think Hawkins, Dutch gave Hawkins the word to get somebody on the horn and try to get some extraction. And the base kept telling them that they were too far in to enemy territory. They've got to work their way closer to the border so they can get picked up.
Yeah.
And again, that scene that you were talking about with between Dylan and Dutch, man, that right there was a really iconic part, because you looked at Dylan's face and you saw that he had the friendship was used as a farce to get their team in.
Yeah, it was a cover. Yeah.
And when he said that, we had to get somebody in there to crack these bastards because Harper's team never came back. You were the one, and I used you. You were an expendable asset, and I used you to get the job done.
Yeah.
And it's a miraculous to me, like amazing how Dutch sat there and kept his cool. Like, okay. He's like, nah, man. We're a rescue team. I don't do this kind of work, man.
Yeah.
We're out of here, And whatever else, frick you, man.
He was an officer. You know what I'm saying? Dutch was major. He was a major. So
major.
He knew the lowdown, man. He knew that this had to come from somebody higher, and it wasn't much he could say. Next time, he just won't accept the mission, I guess.
And he was asking the whole time. Like he asked about Harper. He said, "Hey, somebody had to tell him to come in here. What's going on?" And Dylan, I don't know. What do you mean? Somebody sent him in. Like you're not even involved, man.
Yeah.
Grinding.
And here, there was a big gap between when we had a fairly large gap between when we saw the Predator using his vision and kind of stalking everybody to the next time we see him is when when they're leaving the camp, and Billy, almost not Billy. I'm Bill Duke. Billy was
Mac.
Sonny Landham's character, but Mac,
Right.
Mac is talking to Dylan, and he says, "Hey, over here." He says, "Look." He kind of looks up, and Dylan turns around and looks, and he has a big old knife. He sticks the scorpion that's on Dylan's shoulder.
Right.
Kind of let Dylan know that, bro, I could have just let him sting you in the neck.
Yeah, could have let you die.
Like you need us, but I feel like you set us up, but you need us. Yeah. I'm just letting you know right now. And the whole time the Predator's watching, and you hear him repeating Max, over here, and now you know that the Predator can like take people's voices and play it back, and you kind of use it. He's a hunter, he's using that to his advantage.
Yeah,
he's like calling the duck, calling the calling the buck or whatever.
Chaos.
Yep. So now
I thought
we
that
know.
was brilliant.
Yeah, it was brilliant, man. It was brilliant. We know that the Predator and the Predator comes down there and grabs the scorpion, and puts the scorpion in his hand. So it's one of those things, man. You know that they're being stalked. They don't know they're being stalked, but we know they're being stalked. So it brings tension to the audience, and it's just brilliant. It's brilliant filmmaking altogether. So now we get them leaving the camp, and this is where. Ooh, wait, who goes first? It's Poncho, right?
No, actually, if you as far as like the first victim, while they're making their way down to, because after Hawkins got off the radio, they were told to get closer to the border, so they start to make their way down toward like I guess it's like in a valley to try to get closer to the border, and that was pretty much the only reasonable way that they could move, according to Billy. But he said that it was a bad move because I guess they didn't have any defensive. They couldn't take up really any defensive positions or whatnot based on the layout. But they're trying to get extracted, so they try to move. And again, they're toting around Anna, who's one of the insurgents, female, and I guess she was given to Dylan. He was like, Jess was like, hey, "It's your baggage. You lose, you fall behind. You're on your own. We're gonna leave you."
Yeah,
which I thought was great.
Yeah, because he said he wanted to take her, and Dutch was like, "No deal." And he said, no, she's valuable. He said, well, she's your baggage. You fall behind. That's it.
You're on your own, exactly. So he's toting her, and they go down, go down toward the border, and she manages to get away.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, the Predator was studying them to watch them from afar, and he saw the opportunity to claim his first victim. Mm-hmm. So what happened was Hawkins gave chase to her, caught up with her while everybody was trying to circle around and make sure that that she doesn't have a way out. Yeah. And then the Predator comes down, basically takes him takes him out with one shot.
Yeah.
And just pulls him in the jungle, and she's just literally sprayed with blood and visual and all that mess that comes out of it. The Predator just gutted this dude. Man.
Yeah.
And then dragged him, and she's basically shook, like just trying to get away, trying to crawl away, but she's out of it.
Yeah.
Again, just witnessed something super traumatic. And Poncho kind of goes and tries to find where his body was, and he's looking, and you see in the pack, and seeing the gun, and you just see a bunch of guts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was it.
He said, I think I found him. He said, I found something, he said, Major, I think I found something. He said, is it Hawkins? He said, I can't tell.
And that was a classic line too. Right?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember that line specifically from when I was a kid. Like, I can't tell. Wow. I mean, he destroyed this dude.
The hell? And even Dutch, you saw him it had a far shot where you saw him closer. His eyebrow, what do you mean you can't turn around? And he went there, and again, that was just the Predator gutting him and then snatching him up in the trees and just left whatever emptied out of him.
Yep.
Just left. Absolutely. So we had our first victim, which was Hawkins. From that point, Dutch gives the order, hey, I want Hawkins' body found. Everybody do a sweep, 5-meter spread. Let's get on it, So that in turn made everybody start to sweep the area. And during that time, we had our second victim. So, Blaine gets hit from behind with the shot from the plasma cannon from the Predator. And this is the first time that we kind of get the gist of what type of weaponry that the Predator actually had. The cannon hit him twice, I think. and it basically
Yeah.
blew him open and cauterized the whole wound. So he's just sitting there with a gaping wound
Yeah.
with no blood and just goes down.
I remember that scene when I was a kid. Like I was like, man, that was disgusting. You know, it's one of those scenes that kind of just stuck with me. Like when in Aliens when Bishop got split in half.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
shock.
And I was a kid. Like I was shocking. So like I remember that scene just like it shocked me as a kid.
Yeah, because when he looks at the little hedgehog or whatever that comes out, it goes, and then he gets tapped the first time, and it's just like, I was like, what? Somebody slapped him?
Right.
But when that second shot came down, it basically blew
chest
guts
out.
and everything all up toward the screen, and I was just like, oh shit!
Yeah.
Like again, we've never seen anything like this before.
Right. You know, you gotta understand that when this came out, there was nothing like it. There was no movie like this movie.
You know, Blaine goes down, and of course his buddy Mac is there, and Mac runs over, gets a few shots off at what he thought. You know, he saw. He really didn't know. And again, that's great too. He couldn't. They try to explain what they see, and they really can't. But he gets a few shots off, picks up the minigun, you know, that Blaine was using, and literally chops down half the freaking forest, man, half the freaking jungle. Everybody starts shooting, and again, that is one scene that, to that point, I've never seen anything like that ever.
And it's iconic.
You know?
It's just one of those iconic scenes in the movie, man. These guys, they don't know what's going on. They know that one of the guys just got gutted, and now another one got his chest blown out. But to that point, they hadn't even seen Blaine's body yet.
No,
because Mac picked up the minigun. He saw it. He started just laying rounds into the jungle, and everyone else started doing it.
Yeah,
and you see the predators. You know, you see his weird like camo silhouette kind of running through the woods, through the jungle to get away from him. But they're just laying rounds down everywhere, man. And you can tell that, you know, Mac, man, that was his boy. That was his boy that got killed.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm gonna kill anything out here.
It was definitely a connection between them two. Yeah. And I wanted to run this by you too, man. I think that because you know, we've never seen a creature like the Predator before. Yeah. So I've gotten in conversations with people saying, how does this thing move the way it moves? And oh man, it's super fast. And I've always come up with that concept of maybe perhaps the gravity is different on their planet. Because this thing can hop up in the tree like 8 to 10 feet like it ain't no problem. And it's just fast. And that's why he was using the trees, because our gravity is different. It's like walking in a park.
Right. He's just naturally stronger. He's built for that, basically.
Right.
You know, he's a predator. He's built for that. We'll get into, I'm glad you brought that up, actually. How he moved. We'll get into the actual Predator and the actor playing the Predator and the whole history behind that. when we get to where the Predator's revealed and all that.
Okay.
But yeah, man, they lay down rounds in the jungle, and Dutch is asking Mac, like, you know, what was it? You know, he's like, I'm not sure, because he saw the flashing eyes. He saw the yellow eyes flash, and that's what he was shooting at. So he's like, look, all I know is, you know, I laid down, you know, full pack with the minigun. Nothing could have survived that.
Right.
And they go to look. They're going to look for a body, basically. See what it was they shot. And they go look, and they don't find anything. You know, the girl, Anna, finds the green blood on a leaf. She holds that information for a little while, too long, I believe, but, you know.
Right. She wiped it on her pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up that, you know, when Poncho went to investigate, you know, he let him know, hey, look, we didn't hit nothing.
Yeah.
We ain't got nothing, no bodies. There's nothing, no blood, no nothing. We hit nothing. And that right there again, it just goes to be like, it was amazing. Like all that firepower that was thrown out there in that jungle, and these guys hit nothing.
Right.
Wow. What is this damn thing?
Right. You know, like, well, does this thing have some kind of,
to my core? Does
it have some kind of shield, but then, you know, you see the blood, so it makes you think like, okay, well, how is this thing getting away? How did it escape this barrage of bullets, which, you know, Dutch figures out later. So we get the scene. Dutch says, bring him with us. Wrap him in his poncho.
Yeah.
Bring him with us. And his boy Mac was like, I got him.
Yeah.
I got him. That's my man. I got him. And they go to set up camp. and Dutch tells him, I want everything. Set the camp up so nothing can get in, nothing can get out. He left it up.
Defensive
He left it up to
perimeter.
Mac.
He sets up the perimeter, and again, another iconic scene was he comes down and lets Dutch know that there's nothing that's going to get in here within 5 miles.
Yeah.
That's how much he took as far as doing the job, and Dutch tries to give him a little bit of constantly saying, hey, look, man, he was a good soldier, and again, this made the loss even heavier when Mac was like, he was my friend.
My friend, yeah.
And it just like Dutch turned around like wow, there's a big, we're losing more than just soldiers here. That was a heavy scene for me too, man. It was a heavy scene.
Yeah, you get the scene of him. He's kind of rocking, man. He's taking little sips, and he's kind of reminiscing, about his friend and everything, man. And then we get the scene of the traps going off.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, all right, some action. Predator tried to get into camp. Well,
turns out
it was a big wild boar, man. Mac jumps on that
Huge.
thing, man, and let's be honest. You got to go hard as nails to even jump on a wild boar and stab it to death.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With your hands.
Yeah, like that's some savagery right there. That's that Rambo shit right there.
Absolutely.
That's that first blood right there. So he stabs the pig to death, and Hawkins or Poncho's like, he killed the pig, man.
Yeah.
And
you hear Billy laughing in the background.
Yeah.
Billy's like, oh.
But then we see they go back and Blaine's body is gone.
Yep. Distraction.
Yep. Total distraction technique.
Mm-hmm.
Predator came back, reclaimed his prize. And that's where oh man, like this. Not only is he conniving, man, but he's hard. Like he's like, no, I killed it. I'm going to have my trophy. Period.
It's mine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
yep.
And that sets you, like if you weren't already thinking that this Predator's a complete badass, like you are now.
Yeah. It kind of raised the bar a little bit when that scene happened because you saw that it was capable of thinking.
Yeah.
Well beyond what their expectations were.
Right. The Predator knew that there was these traps. He probably been watching them the whole time. So he's like, well, I can't just walk into the camp, and just go walk out. So let's send a distraction. I set off the traps, sneak in, get the body, and then kill the rest of them later.
Yeah. Taking his time with it. Man.
One at a time.
Right.
And that's where, don't they start interrogating Anna again at that point? Yeah,
they start talking to her again. And I think Dutch kind of goes over to her because, Poncho's been back and forth with the Spanish. Dylan's doing the Spanish with her. And she's just giving them, yep. But Dutch goes and says, hey, cut the bullshit. What the hell is going on? And that's when she kind of explains what's going, her side, like what she experienced as a child, while trying to explain the fact that this is something that has happened before.
Yeah.
During the hottest months, I guess, of the summer of the year, that this whatever this thing is comes down and claims their men.
Yeah.
We didn't know at that time. We really didn't know it was for sport. But I think we got a glimpse of it. It removed Hawkins's body, his spine and the skull.
Yeah.
So you kind of tell that
you
he
get a
was
glimpse.
maybe taking trophies.
Yeah, and at that point, I want to say before he took Blaine's body, or maybe after. It's crazy because many times I've seen this movie, I still get these parts mixed up. But when does he do like the little med kit on himself?
when he got wounded, when Mac wounded him, when they shot down half the forest and stuff, and when they have that break when he's setting up defensive perimeter.
That's right.
There's a scene where he does the little med kit to remove the bullet and stuff, and that's actually the first time we really got a really
a decent look at any of his body and everything. Yeah. So now during that scene where Anna number one reveals that she speaks English, and she's talking and she says it can camouflage itself like a chameleon.
Right.
And Dylan, this is one of those lines that I always thought was funny. Dylan says, "A fucking lizard," you know?
Yeah, Dylan. Yep.
He said, "That's bullshit. There's 2 or 3 guys out there, fucking lizard." You know, it's just typical. Like, you know, I don't believe what's happening, even though you see what's happening.
Right.
You know,
you're living the moment.
Right.
And Dutch was like, "Hey man, you're not getting it, man. That thing took out Harper and his team. Now it's on our asses, man.
Yep.
Wake up."
Yep.
You know,
and
all that expendable asset shit he was saying. Yeah, okay.
Hawkins had asked Billy, said, "Billy, what is it?" He said, "What, what's, you've been acting squirrely all day or whatever," and Billy was like, "We're all gonna die here."
Yeah.
He said, because he told him, it's like, "I'm scared." He said, "Bullshit, you ain't scared of no man." He said, "Something out there and ain't no man. We're all gonna die here."
And I remember my mom, when we were sitting in the movie, my mom was like, "Oh my God." I remember because that part was heavy, man.
Yeah.
Like, anytime that dude looking at you like, hey, whatever's after us ain't no man, and we're all gonna die straight up. No BS, no around about when he told it to him straight up. And it just was a heavy scene, like, damn.
Yep.
My mom was like, "Oh my God." I remember that.
Yeah. I always liked Billy. Do you happen to remember the next movie that him and Carl Weathers was in together? Because I remember.
You said Carl Weathers?
Yeah.
Was it Action Jackson?
It was.
Yeah, because that was with Vanity.
Yeah.
Billy Duke was in that one?
No,
too?
Billy. I mean, Sonny Lantham, who played Billy in this movie.
Oh yeah, right. He was one of the guys.
Yeah, he was like one of the addicts or whatever.
The villains.
Tried to kill Action Jackson.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, side note. These dudes have been all over the place. So yeah. Anyway, we get that scene, and now that like we know Billy, who's a complete badass in the movie, he's scared.
Yeah.
So that justifies, our fear as an audience. Like, okay, well, this dude's scared. And he's like, we're going to die. There's nothing these guys are going to do. That just builds tension in the movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a hero, but still, like, you like having tension in the movie. There's a chance that this Predator is such a badass, like, he can even kill Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that right there set the tone, because, again, we've seen Arnold on the ropes a few times in different films like that, but I think that this film is iconic because of the fact, like you said, he literally faced death.
Yeah.
We've never seen him that close to death before. Yeah. And when you see like iconic characters like that, close to death, it leaves you like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So even the hero can catch an L.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah. Dutch made the decision to make a stand right then and there, because, if they continue, they're just going to get picked off one at a time.
Yeah.
And I think that's when he also discovered that it was using the trees.
Yeah, because he looked up. They were talking, and they were like, how does he get away? And that's when Dutch looked up, and that shot of him looking up in that the score of the movie. We forgot, man. The score of this movie is incredible when it comes to this the ambiance, the atmosphere of this movie. That score is perfect. It just sounds like something sweaty, and like it sounds like something you hear in a sweaty jungle, and it's like perfect for this movie. And
I think the music was done by Alan
Silvestri.
Silvestri.
Yeah.
And he did the score for like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future, The Mummy Returns, and he also did all the scores for the Avenger movies too, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, long career on that dude, man.
Right. So that's
Um,
why the music is so good.
Yeah, it's perfect, man. It's perfect. That's one of those iconic, movie scores. It may not be as iconic as like Jaws or something, you know what I'm saying, or Star Wars or Superman, but it's just you're watching Predator when you hear that
Oh yeah.
background music. Yeah.
You hear the first
Yeah.
you already know. You already know, oh, that's Predator, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's when they like you said, they figure out what's going on and they want to set up traps to trap the predator. They don't know what the thing looks like. They don't know what they're trapping, but they're setting up some traps. And you get this montage of 80s, good old 80s action montage. Greasy, muscly, veiny arms. Pulling ropes and lifting logs and
Mines.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, it's awesome. They get those traps set up and they wait. They wait. Nothing's happening, and Dutch says, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go out here. I guess I'm gonna use myself as bait."
Right.
Yeah, and
because Dylan made the suggestion.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it'll work if we put some cheese out there.
Right.
It's gonna be funny.
He's still like, fucking lizard.
Yeah. Still, I'm not believing what's going on.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
So Dutch goes out there, man. You see him tiptoeing over the trap lines and everything, and bam, the trap goes off, and you hear the predator scream, squeal. I don't know where they got that noise from, but it was definitely unique. And you see the net goes up in the air, all those leaves and everything, and the predator's in it.
Yeah.
But we both know the predator ain't no chump.
No, absolutely not.
Predator blasts his way out the net.
with ease.
Yeah, like it was nothing.
Ease.
The one of the trap, the log comes flying down and smacks Poncho.
Yeah, Poncho gets busted up because of that.
Yep.
Also, it caused Billy, not Billy. It caused Mac to kind of go off and
snap
and to go off toward the predator, trying to find that. And again, division and divide and conquer.
Yeah. So
caused Mac to go off, and then of course Dylan decides that he wants to go off after Mac, and he had the dialogue between Dylan and Dutch.
Yeah.
Dutch told him, "Hey man, you're not going to make it, bro. This ain't the move." He said, "Well, maybe I can get some get back."
Yeah. And that's when we kind of start to get that arc for Dylan. You see that, like he's an asshole, but he's not a bad guy. Like he's just not he's an asshole when it comes to the mission and his job, CIA, spook. But as a human being, like he can have an arc, and that's what you kind of appreciate about Dylan. He's not just some one-note character in this movie.
Yeah. And I wanted to say too that it seems like some of these films have like a trope that they have like anybody that's operative or agent or spec ops or whatever. There's always a degree of shadiness that goes along with that, and this definitely kind of like went along with that trope.
Yeah.
But like you said, he has a moment of like redemption. He's like, well, look, if I can't make it, maybe I can make some good out of what I've done. Because you in it. And see, that's what I'm saying. He realized, man, no matter what, however, whatever happened, I did this, but now I'm in it. I'm in the soup with these guys.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, one more note, man. In that scene where they were trying to trap the predator, is I want to say they got both images, or at least one image for the Contra NES cover from that scene. Folks, if you're watching this video, go ahead and look it up now. So before you think I'm lying, Contra on NES, the cover to that game is Lance and I can't remember the other character's name, but Lance and something. They're both pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator with redone faces. Go look at it. You'll see exactly what I mean when you see it. Look up the cover for Contra on NES. Matter of fact, I'll probably stick it in this video.
Good old Konami.
Anyway, like you said, man, Matt goes after the predator. He sees him. He sees him in the tree. He sees him. The predator's camo kind of goes off and on for a second, and he spots him. Yep. And he's stalking him.
Follow me.
Yeah.
Follow
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. It's like he thinks he's stalking the predator. But like you said, the Predator's just dividing these guys up to kill them one at a time. Dylan is also on the trail of Mac.
Right.
He hears Dylan hears that whistle. I can't do it. I can't do it. But he hears the
Me
whistle.
neither.
and Mac had kind of snuck up on him.
Right.
And covered his mouth and said, "Hey, look, you know, up there in them trees.
I see you."
And I see you. And Dylan's like, "Oh yeah, I see it."
For the first time.
Yeah, and they try to come up with a plan. Like, okay, Dylan's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go around behind it, you know, flush him towards you or whatever." It might be a solid plan in any other situation.
Tried anyway, right? Tried.
Yeah. Dylan's making his way around, and Mac is watching, thinks he's watching the Predator, and he thinks he's got him, and got a line on him. And there's the iconic, man. I want to say it's the first time we actually see the beam on someone, or did we see one earlier?
Yeah, the targeting system.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 3 beams. Yep.
We see the beam on Billy, man, and he's like this, and it goes up, and it's on his head. And next thing you know, man, you get one of the goriest scenes in an action movie where his head just turns into a piñata and explodes. And
couldn't hear a pin drop
right.
in that theater, man. It was so graphic that I think everybody was doing like the Scooby-Doo. You know what I mean? It was just, it was terrible, man.
Yeah.
Like, and you got all that gore coming
right at the
screen.
Camera.
Yeah.
It was a perfect shot,
Everybody
man. Perfect shot.
Yes.
I can't heap enough praise on the director of this movie, man. It's a perfect shot. It's just that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And then we get Dylan. Dylan sees the aftermath of this.
While he's working his way down and around to flush the Predator, I guess toward Mac, because he didn't realize that Mac had already been taken out.
Yeah.
He hears the noise, but he shakes it off, passes it off, and maybe it's jungle noise. And he sees Mac laying there, eyes wide open, looking at him dead. And that scene to me was heavy too, because now you realize, bro, you are by yourself.
Yeah. And he done took your boy, he done took your man's out.
Yep. You are by yourself, man. And guess what? The dinner bell is ringing.
Yep.
It's your turn. You know? And I couldn't imagine a more perfect death for his character, because you get the realization that, damn, I'm fucked. Yeah. No wins here. Yep. And he tried. Don't get me wrong. He tried, But again, it was a witness of the speed and just viciousness of a Predator. When the Predator came and he tried to get a shot off, Predator had already locked in on him, blew his arm off.
Yep.
So he's trying to get the other gun off, and the Predator just coming down and around super fast. He's trying to get the shot off, and oh boy, right in his face. Yep. Hang out for a while, Wolverine style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Predator, man. He was a track star, man. He's just flying through the jungle, like, I got your arm. You might get to that gun, but I'm gonna kill you before you get some shots off.
Effortlessly, and see, that's what I'm saying. He was. Those kills made you feel like the team was outmatched, man. Yeah, from jump.
So yeah, like he goes out hard, man. He goes out hard.
Yeah,
Predator hard. Predator skewers him. The gun. Oh, another iconic shot though. His hand gets blown off, firing the gun, and it's on the ground. It's still firing. It's shooting. Finger's still on the trigger, and then the Predator, skewers him like a shish kebab, holds him up in the air, and this is when like you already knew the Predator was strong. Yeah, but he's one-armed holding Carl Weathers up in the air.
Carl Weathers up in the air, exactly. Huge.
Yeah, this dude, he's nothing to play with. Nah. So now we cut back to our troop, and
they hear the scream from Dylan.
Like they got to get to the chopper,
Yeah,
and we got to get to the chopper.
Classic.
It's game over right now. Let's get to the chopper. Billy stays behind.
Yeah,
Billy stays behind. And they're like, Schwarzenegger, he's holding up Poncho, and the girl's out there, and he's like, Billy, come on.
Billy, come on.
Nope.
Billy's like, nope, Major. My number's up, man. I got to go get my burgers ready.
Yep. Yep. Billy goes out there like
my turn.
Like a G, and takes his vest off and everything, man. Has the thing around his neck, he pulls out that knife, man, puts a cut across his chest. I'm like, okay, come get me. Come get me. You're gonna kill me anyway. Come get me. You ain't gonna go. I ain't going that easy. And I like the fact that the director had enough sense to maybe not show Billy die, because it kind of gives. It's one of those situations where you usually would want to see a character fight the villain,
right?
But Billy was so like he was stoic the whole time. Like, look, man, things gonna kill us. Like, absolutely. I'm not afraid, whatever. But the thing's gonna kill us. I'm about to go sacrifice myself because there's no point in me running. And
buy some more time.
Yeah, I think it's a wise choice that they show that he dies off screen.
Yeah,
you hear him scream, but he dies off screen because like, what do you do to Billy in this movie that will top anything else you've already seen? So you give him kind of a badass death off screen, and it kind of holds more weight. I kind of like it that way.
I wanted to ask you. I looked at it when the Predator was looking at him through the trees before he made the kill.
Yeah.
And to me, the way the footage was, it seems to me like the Predator hit him from behind. And because I don't know, I think wasn't Billy right-handed? And when you see the video, like the thermal vision, it seems like Billy, him. You got an image of Billy standing there on that log,
right?
But it's with the opposite hand, so which leads me to believe that he hit him from behind.
Now I'm gonna have to go back. I've seen this movie 100 times. I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Yeah. Because last night I was like, man, freaking pussy, But at this point, it's he's into the hunt now.
Yeah.
Predator's like, I'm knocking him down and taking my trophies. Let's get this done.
Yeah, we're just laying him down one at a time.
Now, Poncho's injured. He's basically dead weight. So he gets rid of Poncho, bam, right inside the head. And Anna goes to pick up the machine gun that Poncho was holding, I guess, with his other hand. And then Dutch kicks it out of her hand and says, "Go to the chopper."
Yeah, he kicks it out of her hand and lays down a few rounds. Bah, 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 bah. He's like, he didn't kill you because you weren't armed, and that's what we kind of get some of the some more of the lore behind this movie. Like, it's no sport, you weren't armed. That's why he hadn't killed you. So
Dutch gets hit in the arm, man.
Yeah, and I never understood that injury.
I'm like, wow, like Carl Weathers lost his whole entire arm,
bro. Blaine got a whole chest blown out.
Yeah,
from the behind.
And you get a scratch. Like, okay,
that's plot armor, man.
Heroes pass.
Yeah, plot armor is invincible.
Right.
Yeah, plus 10 defense already.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
but yeah, man. Like I said, I never understood that injury. He got hit, but it ended up being like a graze. Never made any sense, but whatever. They're running. He tells Anna to run. Tells her to go. And this is where we kind of get the chase with the Predator and Arnold through the jungle. And Arnold, he's trying to get away. He slides down that hill. And falls over into the water. I don't know how many 100 feet down or whatever it was.
That huge drop into that waterfall. Yeah.
And then we get one of the most iconic shots, man, in a horror movie or a science fiction movie or an action movie, and that's the actual reveal of the Predator, but from the point of view of Arnold Schwarzenegger in the water. He kind of climbs out and everything. He doesn't know if he's safe or not. He climbs through the mud and everything. He turns around and looks, and you see that splash in the water.
Right.
And that invisible splash. Like, you didn't see what hit the water. So you know it's the Predator. And then he comes out, and his armor starts to like glitch or whatever.
Because of the water, right?
Right. You finally get that full reveal of the Predator in his dreads, and he's just freaking just a badass. He's all cut up and everything, like 7 feet tall. So now I want us to just tangent for a moment here.
Okay.
To talk about the actor that played the Predator.
Right.
All right. So Kevin Peter Hall.
Kevin Peter Hall.
You know, he's 7-foot guy in real life, man. He had just finished filming Harry and the Hendersons.
Yep.
When they made this movie. I'll let you go into a little detail on this. How did Kevin Peter Hall, for those who don't know, how did Kevin Peter Hall end up in this role?
Well, apparently, the first person that they had for the Predator, because they had an idea of trying to have it more of a martial arts or ninja type thing. So they had Jean-Claude Van Damme as, to come in as the Predator, trying to make it more of a martial artist ninja type deal. And Jean-Claude was 5'9", and compared to everybody else that was, Carl Weathers, Arnold, Jesse Ventura, Billy Duke, he was extremely small.
Yeah.
So he was removed
unceremoniously.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he complains the entire time that they were filming. And for those you don't know, there was a completely different looking Predator suit. He had a big old head that flopped around, and
it looked more of like a bug rather than an alien.
Yeah. And that's what it was. That was
more insectoid.
Right. It was intended to be that. And the test footage just didn't. It looked stupid. And John McTiernan and all his genius knew it looked bad.
Right.
So he shot some scenes with it, and then sent those scenes to the Fox, to the production company, to the studio, and he said, this is what y'all want to go with, and they said, oh no, that looks terrible. So he was smart enough to know that, like, this is I'm not going to film the whole movie with this, and then have them tell me that it sucks. He went ahead and filmed a couple of scenes, whatever, and sent it to the studio,
right,
so that they would say, yeah, we need a new design, and we need it, ASAP.
Yeah.
And that's when Stan Winston gets involved with, and to a small extent, James Cameron.
Right.
But yeah, they get Stan Winston involved, who's already good friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator.
Right.
And on a plane, Stan Winston, a plane to Japan, he happened to be sitting next to James Cameron, and he's coming up with designs for the Predator. He said he had seen like some warriors with dreadlocks, so he kind of liked that design. And James Cameron threw that idea at him, like, "Hey man, I always want to see something with mandibles," So he threw that into the design, and that's where we came up with the Predator design. It
worked out perfect.
Perfect storm, man. Like, these things you can't write something better than that. It's just a perfect storm of just coincidences.
Right. And everything fitting together.
Yeah.
And I think that, Stan Winston is kind of like, him, and you look at Tom Savini and, guys that are, their whole purpose is to just create creatures and monsters.
Yeah.
You can't top what's going on in their head, man.
Yeah.
And it just fit perfect.
Yep.
Fit perfect.
So they had to get a new, I'm sorry, we were talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme, weren't we?
Yeah.
Who coincidentally at this point in his career wasn't a known commodity.
No, not really.
He was with Canon Films, but I think they hadn't put out Kickboxer or Bloodsport yet.
No, it was still
his early role in Canon Film, it's a little bit of trivia here, y'all. He had a very small cameo in the movie Breaking.
Yep.
And I loved Breaking growing up, and I swear I was an adult before I realized Jean-Claude Van Damme was in a scene in Breaking. But he's in the background of some guys breakdancing. He's just back there doing the corniest dance you've ever seen. Well, almost as corny as the dance from Kickboxer. But anyway, yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme was a Predator first. And he, luckily, the studio and the director made the right choice with replacing him with Kevin Peter Hall. And like we were saying, was Stan Winston on Harry and the Hendersons as well?
I think he was part of that.
Yeah, and that's how he knew.
Production.
That's how he knew him. And
he knew the right guy for the outfit. Yep.
So, Kevin Peter Hall is a big guy, tall, but, slim, but athletic, muscular, and perfect fit for what the Predator should be. Because the Predator, if he's supposed to be this intimidating creature, he's got to be bigger than Arnold,
Yeah, absolutely.
Arnold's 6'2", so you need somebody bigger than that. So,
and then when they picked him, I mean, the comparison,
yeah,
was ridiculous. How much the Predator was just stalking like heavy over top of him and the rest of
oppressing,
right.
So we'll cut back to Arnold. He's out of the water, man. He sees the Predator coming at him, and he's like, man, this is it. I'm not gonna get to the chopper. So he's sitting there. He's all covered in mud, and the Predator walks right by him. Predator don't see him.
Didn't see a thing.
We get the point of view of the Predator, Predator vision, and you don't see any heat. He sees like the one little heat signature inside like a log or something, and shoots it at some kind of like a possum or whatever, runs out. But he doesn't see Arnold. And that's when you see Arnold has that epiphany. He rubs his chest and he's like,
"Yeah,
he can't see me. I'm cold. He can't see me."
Yep.
And that's where we get like, okay, now it's on.
Yeah,
now it's on. Mono.
Now I got something that I can use.
Yeah,
exactly.
I finally got something up on you, and we get the scene, man. This montage of Arnold and just setting up, trying to trap the Predator, trying to get to a point where he can kill the Predator so that he can make it to the chopper. Now he feels like he's got a chance.
And I like that whole montage was great because the simple fact is that the Predator at this point knew that he had won.
Yeah.
I mean, I got one guy left. The hunting trip is almost over.
Mm-hmm.
So let me take my time. When he's ready to die, I'm sure he'll hit me up. Because the Predator knew, where's he going to go?
Yep.
Where are you going to go?
I got it.
You can't escape me.
Yep.
So not knowing that Dutch had already found this counterweight to the whole thing that the Predator had been doing. And it was crazy how, like you said, montages were big in these films. The heroes got to get ready for that final battle. Let me make this compound bow from tree bark and vines, and let me make these explosive arrows and all of this stuff, man, which I thought, again, just classic 80s and just amazing, man.
Yeah.
Amazing work.
And of course, you get the shots of just Arnold just flexing all over the screen. Struggling. You gotta put that stuff in the movie. And we get, this culminates and Arnold, he holds that torch up. He lights the torch, holds it up, and he screams. Predator's gonna see it.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, if you want to dig, the Predator should have been able to see his eyes and everything. Oh, whatever, who cares? Who cares? It's a great movie. But we get the scene of Arnold trying to set the trap on the Predator, man, and it's nighttime, and Predator shows up, pretty predictably, and Arnold's waiting on him. Things don't exactly go the way Arnold planned.
No, not exactly. In the beginning, it kind of was like he had a decent advantage over him. And my favorite part was the fact that the Predator comes down and actually crawls across him and doesn't even realize that Arnold's right there. Dutch is right there, covered in the mud. And it kind of gave you the sense that the things that they were dealing with in the beginning of the film were kind of like the roles were reversed. So now the Predator is having issues seeing the prey. And you see where I think Arnold was throwing some rocks and doing some jukes, and then shot a couple of the explosive arrows, which kind of ruined the Predator's suit. Then the Predator starts to shoot in all directions. Trying to figure
his targeting system's all messed up and everything.
Let me hit something. Maybe I'll hit something at random, which again kind of like shows you that the tables have turned. Which I thought was awesome. It was awesome.
And then we get the the standoff, the showdown. That's when the Predator's like, okay, well, all my stuff is kind of useless now. He takes off the gun, and Arnold's there, and this is where it's like Arnold doesn't have a weapon anymore.
Right.
He's barehanded. And here's the Predator's like, okay, I'm gonna give you a sporting chance. I'm dropping the weapons. I'm gonna just whoop your ass. into submission.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, the Predator takes his mask off, and Arnold's like, "Damn, you one ugly motherfucker." You know, classic line that's been used over and over again in these other movies, but classic line for the time, man. Because that was the first time we had seen him with the mask off.
Right, his actual face.
Right, his actual face
with the mandibles.
Yeah, and he does that scream like you know, all right, I'm ready. He screams and it's like, okay, like, you know, let's go. Me and you. Whoops Arnold's ass. Bro,
yeah.
I was like, man, like I remember watching that, like, he was killing Arnold Schwarzenegger. This ain't even fair. It's like Bane fighting Batman, man. It's not even fair right now.
Right.
And
never. I don't think that I've seen at that point. I don't think that I've seen Arnold take a whipping like that, man.
No.
You think about the films. He never was beaten to that point where you're crawling.
And he never fought an alien either, you know?
Yeah. Ribs broken. He shit drunk, drool coming out of your mouth, trying to clutch on to those last few moments, man. You know?
And the Predator's backhanding him and doing pimp slapping him and everything, man. Just manhandling this dude, man.
Sheer power and strength, man.
Yeah. And you get to see
well off of the Richter, man.
You get to see, you know, the size of Kevin Peter Hall as the Predator with Arnold, man. He's just kind of towering over him. And Arnold, to his credit, you know, Dutch ain't giving up.
Nah, he kept on fighting.
Yeah, Dutch ain't giving up, man. He eventually like crawls away and gets into that like that decoy trap that he set.
Yeah.
The one that had like little spikes hanging down.
The little corner, little itchway that he crawled into.
Yeah. And he knows that the Predator's not dumb.
Yeah.
And that the Predator would see that thinking that it's a trap. So I'm gonna go around the other way. But that in itself was the trap.
Right.
You know, he gave him the old 52 fake out. And you know,
perfect.
He's like, "Come here, kill me. I'm here, kill me."
True. Yep.
And the Predator's, you know, Predator's holding the spikes. And he's looking at it like, "Man, you think I'm stupid? What is this?
Mm-hmm.
This is some Looney Tunes shit right here. What are you doing?" So So then the Predator walks around, and that's when Dutch like got him.
Yeah.
He kicked the little stick. Here comes a log.
Dumped that whole log on his head.
Yeah. A deadfall. You know, it's called like a deadfall trap. You know, deadfall trap's supposed to be like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 times heavier than whatever you're trying to kill or something like that. So
that sucker with that piece of log was huge, man.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. It makes me wonder how the hell he even got it up there, but whatever.
Yeah.
Crushes the Predator, man, but the Predator's not dead. And he walks up on him. Predator's spitting blood out of his mouth and everything. And you know, you see him, he hits the little pad on his arm.
There's a little arm bracelet.
Yeah, that was another thing that was just unique about this movie, man, and the creativity in this movie.
Yes.
Because, you know, it had its own like countdown timer with like symbols. You
know, language.
Yeah, at that point, you know, you would have expected like maybe something a little different. I don't know, but that itself was just so unique. And the person was like deep doop deep doop deep doop, and he starts laughing with Billy's laugh.
Which gives you an understanding that he kind of understood what our language was.
He understood humor. He understood humor. Yeah, he understood humor.
Right.
Like, hey, I get the last laugh. It's basically what I'm saying. I get the last laugh.
And we take no L's here. We're winning. If I take an L, everybody's taking an
L. Yeah. We all going. I'm taking my basketball and going home. We all going.
Yep.
But Dutch, you know, Dutch has common sense. He can recognize a countdown.
Right.
And he sees this thing is laughing. He's like, oh shit, I might want to leave. I might want to haul ass. I might want to haul ass right now. And then the you know, he's running and the explosion goes off. Big old, you know, bright, like basically a nuke goes off out here.
Almost like a mini nuke.
Yeah.
A mini nuke.
Yeah. And you know, you see Dutch, man, and he's all like, you know, covered in soot and everything, and he gets with the helicopter shows up.
Right. The extraction
Like,
helicopter.
now, okay. Y'all a little
at
late.
the end,
Y'all a little
finally.
late. And Anna's there.
It was Anna was on the helicopter. I think the general came along as well. General was on the extraction helicopter as well. And we actually got a chance to see Kevin Peter Hall's real face because he was the pilot.
Yeah.
He was the pilot.
Yeah. Because the director wanted to make sure he gave him an on-screen appearance in the movie because he put so much work into the Predator.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they pick him up, man.
That last shot, man, is iconic, man, because Dutch is just sitting on a helicopter. He won, man, but he's defeated at the same time. Yeah. He's defeated because his whole team is
everything. Gone. Exactly.
He
lost everything.
Survivor's remorse. You know what I'm saying? Like he lost everything. He won, but he lost everything, man. It's just covered, man. He's just defeated. It doesn't end with him having some, kissing the girl or,
right.
Or like some movies where like the hero's been through all this stuff. They give him a little bandage in front of an ambulance and he walks, gets in his car and goes home in the sunset.
The sunset.
Yeah. It wasn't like that, man. This dude, he's just defeated, man. The movie ends on that.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to that score, and we get that after credit or during the credits, you get like the cast breakdown. I always thought that was cool.
Oh yeah. I had never seen anybody do that up to that point.
Right.
And it was just great. You got that last glimpse of your characters, your favorite guys, man. It was awesome.
And I think I don't know if he said this or not, but John McTiernan said that he came from an acting background, like plays and movies. So he loved actors. He was one of the few directors that actually loved actors. And if you go see a play, at the end of the play, the cast comes out, they bow, whatever. And,
they do the bows and
right.
stuff, yeah.
And I feel like he put that in this movie on purpose. It was like a play. Yeah. And like, here's your cast of characters. But for this movie, it works. Some movies, it might kind of take you out of the experience. For this movie, it works. Because it's a small cast. And you with these guys this whole movie. There's no other scenes in this movie. And that's what makes it kind of intimate. Like, you don't get... Yeah. You're not with them in the jungle and then you cut to some office in Washington, D.C. Like, we got to get these guys. None of that.
No.
And I really always like that credit scene, man, just with the characters out of character. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got a chance to see them again,
right?
Which I thought really, really helped because you lost. Some of these guys died like way in the beginning of the film. So you got that last chance. You had that last chance to see them goodbye before the film.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what, man, I love this movie for that. I love this movie for that, man. And look, hey, y'all, we at the end of the movie. And believe me when I tell you, we could talk about this movie for 4 or 5 hours.
There's tons more stuff.
There's so much we left out.
Scenes.
Behind the scenes. We could do a whole video on just the behind the scenes of this movie. So I'm just for the sake of brevity, y'all. We're gonna end this conversation about Predator here. But that being said, man, let me thank Alex for doing this video with me. Thank everybody.
Thank you, man.
Hey,
I had a ball.
I'd just be talking to a screen by myself if you wasn't here.
I appreciate you, man.
Let me just say about my appreciation for this movie. Personally, it's one of those movies I truly love. I can watch every day, even if I'm not paying attention to it. I could listen to it in the background. It's one of those movies I truly love. My wife knows it. My wife, if I'm watching TV and she'll come and she say, "You watching Predator again?" Well, yeah. She's like, at this point, we've been married over 24 years. So at this point, she knows, like, there's no point in you even asking if I'm watching Predator. Like, either sit down and watch it with me or go mind your business or whatever, because you already know what's up. Half the time she watches it with me. But yeah, man, I really love this movie. Everybody's involved. I'm glad I had a chance to experience it. It's just one of those things that in our lifetime, we got to experience a lot of unique things. Like, kind of like we were born at the right time.
Absolutely.
We got to experience a lot of first in movies and a lot of first in technology, a lot of first in sports. Like, you got to think, man, we got to experience, movies like this and Michael Jordan's whole career. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is kind of incredible when you think about the stuff that, was produced, 70s, 80s, 90s, man. We got the chance to live through it and get a chance to talk about it, so it lives on. These things. This movie is what? 80s, 88, 80, came out 87.
87. Yeah,
So
87.
you're looking at what, 35 years old.
Right.
That's insane when you think about it. So
And still people are recognizing it.
Yeah.
There's still material that's being produced from this created universe.
Yeah, a good movie is a good movie. Period.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
anyway, y'all, thank you for sticking with us this long.
Yes.
Really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. And we got some more great movies coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
please stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and let us know if you got ideas on movies you want to see. Hey, throw a comment in there.
Comment.
But yeah, Alex, any last words from you?
Just want to tell all the viewers to, appreciate these films, appreciate the hard work that the actors and actresses put into these films. I mean, I know, when you get into reviews and critics, people say certain things, but you got to realize that these people have basically cut off a portion of their time, of their life to make these great creations, to make these characters, these memorable characters. And this stuff needs to be celebrated and appreciated. Yeah. So continue to feed life into these films, man, because they're great.
Yeah.
They're part of the culture.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. So once again, y'all, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it.
Take care.
We'll be back. Peace.